I put out a video not too long ago about what comes after Trump. And one of the scenarios that I laid out was a Democratic candidate actually emerges who can coalesce real support, not just the base, like actual broad support, meaningful support. And I mentioned some names. And some of them I was very skeptical about, most of them. And then my comment section answered back, actually, repeatedly. Because the name that I kept seeing over and over again was someone who I hadn't mentioned at all. Andy Beshear, governor of Kentucky. So let's talk about him. And I may miss some things here because, to be honest, I'm relatively new to exploring Beshear. But he's the 63rd governor of Kentucky, serving since 2019. He's also the son of a former Kentucky governor, which could tell you something about dynasty politics, or it could tell you that his family actually believes in public service enough to keep doing it at least. You could read that either way, I suppose. But here's what the record shows. Beshear has won 3 straight statewide races in Kentucky, and in the most recent presidential election, Trump carried Kentucky by about 30 points. Now, you don't do that by accident. You do that by convincing people who voted against your party that you're actually working for them. So how has he done this? Well, since he's been governor, Kentucky has seen more than $48 billion in new private sector investment and more than 69,000 full-time jobs. That's the strongest run of economic development in the state's history. He protected Medicaid coverage when he took office and later expanded Medicaid benefits to include dental, vision, and hearing, while repeatedly calling health care a basic human right in Kentucky, a state that has historically voted for people who want to cut Medicaid. On his 3rd day in office, I think it was, he signed an executive order restoring voting rights to more than 140,000 Kentuckians who had completed sentences for nonviolent offenses. Under his admin, the total of people who fit in that bucket has grown to more than 194,000. Overdose deaths have now declined 3 straight years in Kentucky, and the state leads the nation in residential substance use treatment beds per capita. He sued opioid manufacturers as the AG before any of this was politically fashionable, you could say. He also led Kentucky through the pandemic and through devastating tornadoes and flooding, and he still posts some of the strongest approval numbers of any Democratic governor in the country. So he absolutely can govern. I wouldn't question that in the least. Now, what's his pitch on the national stage? He's been direct that going on offense against Trump isn't enough. His argument is that Democrats need to show up in places where voters shifted Republican and get results and re-earn trust on jobs, healthcare, education, public safety. He went to Butler County, Ohio, J.D. Vance's home county, and said there's no one who will work harder to beat Vance in 2028. He called Vance's memoir Poverty Tourism and said Vance called Appalachian workers lazy and pointed out that Vance blamed addiction on the people struggling instead of the opioid companies that flooded their communities. Now that doesn't seem like a guy who's afraid to go somewhere uncomfortable and say something that he feels is really true. He pointed out that he won Breathitt County. Breathitt? I looked it up and now I can't remember. I looked up the pronunciation, but that county in eastern Kentucky, that's the county that Vance claims his roots in. He won that by 22 points. And that's in a county Trump carried by 59. Sorry to cut back in here. I swallowed a bug, one of the hazards of filming outside again. But back to Beshear. That's the argument that feels like it's a pretty real and legitimate argument. No wonder he's been showing up in the comment section. He was really the only one who showed up repeatedly. Now, here's where I will maybe have to sort of extrapolate a little, because he hasn't laid all of this out explicitly yet. But the record does point somewhere. Andy Beshear governs with a framework that we could call out, and we could say it's not progressive in the coastal sense, for sure. It's not centrist in the bloodless triangulation sense. It's closer to something sort of older. The idea that government exists to make people's lives materially better. And that you prove it by doing it, not by talking about it. And that framework, applied at the federal level, I mean, that could look like defending Medicaid with receipts, investing in domestic manufacturing with actual jobs attached, taking on corporate predators, opioid companies, insulin pricing, whoever is extracting from working people. Not as some type of endless culture war like we see on the right, but as an actual legal and economic matter of interest to the American people. He's already proposed a $150 million housing investment in Kentucky and expanded Medicaid to cover dental, vision, and hearing, like I mentioned before. The scale that thinking about this on a federal platform, if you scale that out, you've got something that isn't only in opposition to Trump. This is what I'm trying to dig into recently. Democrats cannot just go out there and say, we're going to fight against Trump. I mean, that's great to fight against Trump, but we need a real counteroffer here. What's on the table that is positive instead of just the fight, fight, fight? Tell me what you're for, not just tell me what you're going to fight against. Now, what I see him trying to propose here, which would be amazing, would be an attempt, a real effort to try to end the division, to restore the American dream, and to bring some form of hope back. Now, those all sound like talking points, for sure. But when the guy saying it has actually done some version of it in a state that was supposed to be impossible, I feel like it kind of lands differently, at least for me. Now, he hasn't even announced yet. He said he'll think more seriously about it after the 2026 midterms and after talking it through with his family. Now, that's maybe exactly what you would say when you're running. I don't know. We could see. But the more I look into this, the more I sort of start crossing my fingers. But either Andy Beshear is a regional politician who got lucky in a weird state and his appeal doesn't travel, or he's the closest thing Democrats have to proof of concept. You can actually win people back by governing well and showing up for them and not treating working class voters as lost causes. The comment section seems to think that it's the second one. So I'm here. I'm still learning. Drop me some more info if you have it. But I'm all eyes on deck for watching this one play out. Could have some hope here. We'll see.